Okay, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be talking about assets and liabilities. In a previous video, I was talking about how weird people, or being weird rather, is an asset rather than a liability. And I used the caption asset equals good, liability equals bad. And now we're going to explain how that pertains to the world of money. So an asset is anything that is putting money into your pocket, and a liability is anything that is taking money out of your pocket. And so we're going to give some examples of each. So when I purchase a stock and the stock goes up in price, I'm getting money. That's an asset. If I purchase a brand new phone, and the phone just takes money out of my account, that is a liability. And it's a double liability because not only am I purchasing the phone, which takes money out of my account, I also then have to pay for a data plan, which takes money out of my account monthly. So that's a double whammy. When you create the journey for yourself of trying to get money, the idea, very simple, is get more assets, then you have liabilities. Rich people, you see them balling out of control, and they have like fancy cars and they buy mega yachts and whatever. They have the discipline to buy a bunch of assets that take care of that liability. So when I get into real estate investing, I want to have at least 10 houses that I own and then rent out. And I'm going to name each of those houses a liability that I want to buy. So one of the houses I'm going to name the Tesla house because that all the rent checks will go to funding my Tesla that I want to get. Another house will be international stocks. Another house will be domestic stocks. Another house will be for my Fundrise account. Oh, another house will be for traveling. So all I'm really doing is having the discipline enough to know that whatever my goal is, whatever I want, that's not going to actually bring me money in the long run, I have to set forth, or I have to put forth an effort to make sure there's some outside money coming in to fund that instead of the money that is paying for my bills. And so another thing we want to talk about is, can we turn liabilities into assets? For sure. So if you think back to that example of having a phone not or having a phone being a liability, how can we turn a phone into an asset? Well, if you're using apps that will generate you money, whether it's cents or a couple dollars, well, you're using your liability to turn it into an asset. If you're using your phone to start a network of communications where it brings in some sort of money, somehow you're turning your liability into an asset. Instead of just using the phone to watch Netflix or text people, you're actually using that phone as a tool to get more money. And therefore, your liability becomes an asset. Same thing as a car. People buy a car. You have to pay for insurance, you have to pay for gas, and if it gets wrecked, you have to pay for getting it repaired. All of that stuff, if you're just driving your car to drive it, it's a liability. It's not helping you get more money in any way. But if you become an Uber driver or a Lyft driver or Uber Eats, you're using your liability to turn it into an asset. Now, will the fact that you drive for Uber and Lyft and all that stuff outweigh the cost of the actual car? Probably not, but it's better than just buying a car and driving it, because that has become a liability, and a pretty big liability if you think about monthly payments and all that. So we want to talk about another beautiful thing about being in the stock market is buying stocks is for sure going to be an asset for you. It's one of the many streams of income that you want to get into. Over the course of me doing this, I'll talk about several streams of income, but one of the incomes that you get from being in the stock market is your capital gains income and also your dividend income. And so let's look at dividends because it's a way to turn an asset that is you investing into a company into a double asset. And then we'll talk about how to hack your assets and to do other things that you probably never thought of. So let's take a look at my screen. Let's take a look at Disney. So to buy a share in Disney, it will cost you $135.10. Now, if you haven't heard, Disney is going to be launching its own streaming service in the future, probably within a couple months, and people are going to buy into that because people want to watch their Marvel movies, they want to watch old classics on Disney, all that fun stuff. Now, it's probably going to cost $10 a month. That's just a number I'm assuming that it's going to be. I have no insider information, but let's say it's going to be $10. And because we're paying a monthly subscription and we're going to be doing it for the whole year, our total cost for the year is $120. So, what is cool about Disney? It's one stock among many that provides you dividends. What is a dividend? A dividend is like your interest in your bank account. So when you go and put your money in the bank says, "Thank you for giving us money. Here's a couple cents back." Woohoo, a couple cents. But for stocks, they give you a lot more than a couple cents back. So Disney, if I'm looking at my cheat sheet here, and if you're asking yourself, oh my gosh, what is this beautiful spreadsheet you've got going on here? That's going to be a later episode, my friends. So anyway, my estimated annual dividend from Disney is going to be 107, not 176, one day, but it's going to be $1.76. So if I come over here, there's a 2 here because Disney pays out their dividends 2 times out of the year. And so that means it's 88 cents every time they release their dividends. Now, typically, a company will if it's doing well, it's going to be giving you more dividends in the future. So that 88 cents may turn into 90 cents each time they release it, or it may turn into a whole dollar. Now, I only have one share in Disney right now, and so my estimated dividends for the year is going to be $1.76. So let's go over to the graph. And we're going to talk about that idea of I want to buy this streaming service. So the total for the year would be $120, right? When Disney pays me their dividend, they're going to give me 88 cents. So now I'm thinking to myself, what number of shares would I have to have in Disney so that I can get $120? Because if you know, we all have to pay for bills, but nobody actually wants to pay for bills. So wouldn't it be cool if I could have Disney pay for my subscription for me, and I can do that with dividends? So if I am getting 88 cents for every share that I have in Disney, I set up this equation, and I'm going to figure out how many shares I need in Disney. So we look right here and we look at this number, and this is telling me that 136.364 shares is how many shares I need to equal $120. We're going to round that up and call that I need 137 shares in Disney in order to have Disney pay for this subscription for me. So if I look at how much a Disney stock is, I can use my portfolio for that. Each share in Disney is $135.10. So I'm going to multiply the fact that I need 137 shares, and and each one of these guys is going to cost me that much. So if I had $18,508.70 lying around somewhere, I would be able to buy all these shares in Disney, and Disney would pay for this subscription for me. Now, do most people have 18.5 thousand lying around? No. But we need to understand that that's a pretty cool technique that we could be using. We could have our companies that we have stocks in pay for our subscriptions for us. So those of you who like Apple, boom. Apple will pay you $2.92 every year. Are they a quarterly? Yeah, so they give out their dividends they give out their dividends quarterly. So 4 times out of the year they're paying you money. And if you have enough money, let's see what that would be. 500. Okay, so a typical new iPhone is going to cost you about $1,000. So let's say if I had 400. Okay, so if we had 350 shares of Apple, which is about 72.5K, we could have Apple be paying for our new iPhone for us. Again, no, not many people have that money lying around, but it's a cool concept. Now, what most people do when they have that amount of money, they're not taking that money out to pay for those subscriptions or pay for those new products. They keep it in so that they can compound their money. And we're going to be talking about compound interest and how powerful it is, especially for those of you who are still in middle school and high school. You could be capitalizing on compound interest right now with a custodial Roth IRA account. Again, this is going to be a future episode, but things to think about right now. A lot of you out there who are young think, well, man, I can't do anything because I'm not 18, so I can't get into the market. That's not true. You could have a nest egg started for you right now and then have all that money later on when you're older. But that's going to be it for this episode. We want to recap what we talked about. So asset versus liability. Asset, anything that's making it help me make it rain. And then a liability is anything that's taking money out of my pocket. So we're going to do a little quiz, Dora the Explorer style. So I'm going to do a pause. Is this an asset or a liability? So let's say you go out to a restaurant and you buy a nice steak dinner. Asset or liability? Now, if you said liability, that's correct, because that steak dinner, while it is tasty, it is not bringing you money. You buy some wood, some poster board, and some paint. Trick question. It's an asset because you're going to turn that wood into a nice stand, put the poster board on it, and then you're going to write lemonade on the poster board with the paint, therefore turning all that stuff that you just bought into a nice little lemonade stand for yourself, and then that starts your cash flow. I don't know what happened to the screen. I don't know if you can see me, but that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you've understood the difference between an asset and a liability, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, before we go, we got to talk about what we're grateful for. We are grateful for the Brotherhood of Buses. And if if you don't know what I'm talking about, because you probably don't, because I've made this up, next time you see two school buses pass by each other, notice that they wave to one another. And that's what I call the Brotherhood of Buses. I think it's so cute that when two buses drive by one another, they're saying, hey, we're bus drivers. And also motorcyclists do this together, but they instead of going like hand in the air, they usually do a down low, hey, we're riding motorcycles and we're passing by each other. And again, it's just super cute. I like it when people are a part of something. Have a great day and remember to smile because you are beautiful. All of the rent money, the hello? Are you kidding me? All right, folks, I hope you have enjoyed the episode and I hope you understand the difference between asset and liability. You want to haichu? Okay. Do you need help opening it?
I am AX Deacon. Raw.
Hold on, they can't see that. Will you close the door? Anthony!